Om. 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 Today we are going to learn about chapter 13 Bhagavad Gita. The title is Kshetram Kshetranya Vibhaga Yoga. So this is entering into Jnana Yoga. So the introduction to this chapter is, who am I? Very important question in human life. Since childhood, we have been very curious. We want to know. You can see a 2-year-old looking at an ant moving. From ant to animals to shrubs to trees, all plants, cells in the body, virus, bacteria, everything, galaxy. We are all always human beings are always more curious. That's the science mysteries of the world. The periphery keeps expanding. In fact, in August 23, the new comet Nishimura was discovered by a Japanese astronomer. And 95 moons around Jupiter was recognized by the International Astronomical Union. James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is a dominant instrument revealing the galaxy's star formation and potentially habitable ex, planet atmosphere. So all these things are happening. Now the question is, who is the subject of all these experiences of the world? The mystery is resolved by great masters, rishis. The one text that leads us from body to ultimate destination is Bhagavad Gita. Vedas are ancient revealed scriptures, and Vedas have Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, Purva Bhagam and Uttara Bhagam. The Uttara Bhagam is the exact meanings of the Vedas, and that is called, also referred to as Upanishads or Veda Antaha Vedanta. Upanishads, Vedanta gives the essential knowledge of our own self, Mahavakyas, they call it. Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma. These are 4 common ones, though there are many. One who strives to know who am I, is a spiritual seeker. One day suddenly we are in this body, where we were before, we don't know. We assume we are this body, the body changes, but I in this body always remains the same from childhood onwards. The feeling I exist is always there. We come from nowhere, now here, and go nowhere. Now, who am I? Ego is the I, but not the real I. Ego is a concept of who we think we are. Lot of ideas, thoughts, concepts about ourselves with a sense of doership and enjoyership. We have a CV, we have a resume, we associate with other people. So we need to transcend the ego, and Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 to 6 helps humans theoretically, intellectually understand what the self, I, is. I am that consciousness with a capital C that illumines this body, mind, intellect, the waking state, dream state, and the deep sleep state. That is a symbolic representation of AUM, waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. As is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. This Atma is Brahma, the source of the entire creation. That is the nature of Brahman, the substratum of the entire universe. One gets to comprehend it with the help of bhakti, devotion. But the journey is complete only when we know Atman is Brahman. This is the most crucial to be recognized, to be realized, referred as Jiva Brahma Aikyam. That is what is going to be taught in chapter 13 to 18. This reveals the identity of the individual and cosmos. Now, Bhagavad Gita is split into three sections, and it is referred to as Shatkam. So, Shatkatraya. So, chapter 1 to 6 is talks about the individual, Jiva, and refers to Karma Yoga and emphasizes on self-effort. That is Jiva Vichara. 7 to 12 is talks about God, Brahman, Bhakti Yogam, devotion, and the grace of God. That is Ishvara Vichara. 13 to 18 is Jiva and Ishvara are one. That is Jnana Yoga, self-knowledge. And then he emphasizes on the values that humans must possess to attain this Jiva Brahma Aikyam. So Bhagavad Gita has got generally 700 verses, but chapter 13, verse number 1 is where Arjuna is asking a question which is added to Bhagavad Gita later on. The reason is how did he know these words? It was never referred from chapter 1 to 12. So that is a question. So generally it's 700. In some textbooks, it is 701 verses. It starts with a question that he says about asking 6 words, which are 3 pairs. Prakriti, what is Prakriti Purusha? Kshetram Kshetrangyan, Jnanam Jneyam. So Prakriti and Purusha is nature and witness. Kshetram and Kshetrangyan is the field and the knower of the field. Jnanam and Jneyam is knowledge and that should be known. So Purusha, Kshetrangyan and Jneyam are the same. Prakriti and Kshetram are more or less the same. Jnanam is entirely different, as Krishna mentions. Now, Kshetram is that which is subject to destruction. In Sanskrit, Deham is subject to Dahana. Any body, anything is subject to the burn. So, Kshetram, that which is subject to destruction, number 1. Number 2 is that which is maintained and protected from destruction. This body is referred to as Kshetram, field, subject to destruction and to be protected, because only with this human body, an individual can attain self-realization. It's not for animals or trees or plants or mountains and rivers. So Kshetram is also referred as a field, a farmland where cultivation and agriculture is possible, where there is growth. The land has both good and bad, the crop and weeds. So also this body creates good and bad and experiences good and bad. This body is a field for the individual. When the seed is sown, it sprouts, grows into bigger plant, finally has multiple seeds, and that protects itself for generations. One apple may have 6 or 8 seeds, but each seed can produce thousands of seeds, and the cycle continues. Similarly, every individual, by one's own actions, gain merits and demerits in this body, which then bears fruits for those actions in future births. That is samsaram, whirlpool, cycle of birth and death. Therefore, this body is subject to Therefore, this body is subject to destruction. Shattvikaram, this body goes through 6 modifications. That is asti, jayate, vartate, viparimte, apakshiyate, nasyate. That is existence, birth, growth, disease, decay, and death. That is, this body is destroyable. This body is protected from all these things. This body recreated for several generations, karmic actions. That is why it is referred to as Kshetram, a field for experience. Now in verse 1, Kshetrangyan. Kshetrangyan is the knower of the field. I see this body, I am the seer, body is seen. This body is inert. Without my presence, it cannot function. Inert means they don't know I exist. That is the meaning of inert. I am the knowledge, sentiency, chit, chaitanyam. Body gets sentiency because of me, the seer. Kshetrajna has no modification. Body has 6 modifications. Right? These changes are seen by the unchangeable. Say for now in today's, for example, in this class, right now, one who is here from the start to the finish can see somebody who comes late, somebody who leaves early. It has to be somebody who has been there for throughout. Similarly, these changes in the body are seen by the one, unchanging, referred as Dehi, Atma, ever present, immovable substrat. I know he says in verse 2, Krishna mentions that I'm going to give you a very important knowledge. Know that you are the seer. I am in all kshetra, in all locations. So Krishna is starting us into this jnana, jiva brahma aikya jnana. I and that are one. This body is not you, it is known by you. This body is subject to changes. There is a knower of this body. Know that you are that. Know that tvam asi, you are that. Kshetram is field. Kshetrajnan is knower of the field. Kshetram, the field has got multitude of differences. You can see that many beings. Now the student is confused. Till now, till first 12 chapters, I was told to worship the divine. I will have his grace. And now I am told I am that. And reject this body, be the seer. Krishna says, separate, isolate you from what you think you are, the seer and the seen. Reject the seen, assert the seer. Right? This is referred as Vibhaga. That is split. Without that, seer is Vibhagam, that means there is no split. It is Purna, no parts, whole. The first step is to isolate the field from the knower of the field. And the field includes body, mind, senses, world, everything. I am the seer, unmodified, ever-present knowledge, sentient. I know I exist. Undisputable fact. I know I exist. I don't have to have any proof to prove that I exist. This is the first step towards who am I. I am not what I think I am. Many are not aware of this knowledge. I am in all, says Krishna. Difficult to conceptualize. This knowledge, this alone is the knowledge. Everything else that we learn from school and college and everything experience is all for the intellect. They are all information for the intellect. This alone is knowledge. Self-knowledge is a subjective path. Self-inquiry, DIY project, do-it-yourself project, a path less traveled and a path less traveled. This is a knowledge many realized sages have sung in several songs, through several documents, texts, prakarana granthas for intellectuals, and through music to draw everyone. In India, all types of music in all languages convey this knowledge to the common person. Mahabharata is referred as fifth Veda. The gist of Vedas is Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. So everything that is quoted in Upanishads, sacred texts, I am going to refer them to you, says Krishna. The entire universe is Kshetram, is a field. The entire universe has two aspects. That which is visible, that we see, hear, or we can sense it through all the 5 senses, that is visible. That which is not visible, which is invisible to our senses, that is the memory, the thoughts, the ideas, dreams, abhyakta, unmanifested, manifested and unmanifested. So verse 7.4 and 5, he had mentioned it also before. Now the entire universe has 24 parts, he says. That is 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. 5 organs of perception, which is senses. 5 organs of actions. Then mind, intellect, memory, and ego. That makes it 19. 19 plus 5, the experiences, the desires, the likes and dislikes, pleasure and pain, and the will to accomplish. So, Krishna refers all these 24 as a field: nature, Prakriti, inert, insentient, Kshetra. None of these know I exist. So 7 to 12, Krishna mentions 20 values. With these values alone, one can attain self-realization. Number 1 is amanitva, absence of pride, superiority complex. I am great and you are not. Egoistic attitude, arrogance needs constant approval and appreciation from others. As we succeed in life with lots of achievements, accomplishments with power, position, wealth, name, and fame, without any effort, the weeds creep in. That is pride, arrogance. Being proud is different. Being proud is I set a goal, I work on it, and then I achieve it. I am proud of my accomplishments. But pride is I am better than you. I did this and you didn't do it. That is different. That's a difference between pride and proud. This can happen even to those who have studied scriptures for years. I know it all. I am better than you. Climbing high is a lot of hard work, but sliding is very fast and easy. One has to be constantly aware of it. Self-reflection is the key. When left alone, the mind will go in all directions. It needs to be observed, monitored, redirected towards the goal. Nigraha in the Sanskrit. So number 1 is pride that can pull one down like gravity. There's always one above you or below you. Those who are above you should inspire you to accomplish as much as that person has done or more. And those who are below you, try to help them so that they can also rise. Why shouldn't I feel proud? I worked hard. I accomplished this with my own efforts. Sure, you can do that. But that escalates your attachment to this body, which is not helpful for spiritual self-knowledge. One should not consider oneself as superior to anyone due to the possession of anything: grand houses, bank balance, academic achievements, or color of the skin, or any kind of superiority complex. That is first one. Humility is a virtue. Second one is adambitto, absence of hypocrisy. Show off. I'm the one thinking superior to others. First one is I'm superior to others. Second one is showing off. So publicity, bragging, we can dharma prakatanam in Sanskrit, boasting about whatever we have done. Third is ahimsa, non-violence, not hurting others in thoughts, words, and deed. That is very crucial. At an younger age, with children, with siblings, we try to hit each other, push each other. We do that physically. But as we grow older, we hurt others with sarcastic comments, satire words, slamming, snapping, intentionally. Open, direct communication is important, best. Transparent communication. These are often directed towards family members and less fortunate people, like our car driver or domestic help, whoever is working for us. So one needs more strength to forgive others. Ego will not allow that. Ego will not budge. Ego will often prevent that. So we don't always have to give back tit for tat or vengeance. Okay. So watch out, again, self-reflect. Shanti is number 4, absence of disturbances in the mind. Anxiety, worry, fear leads to stress and tension. This quality is only for human because we often live in the past or future. Animals and children live in the present. When we forgive and forget, mental peace is the effect. When the mind is calm, composed, and at peace, one can understand and grasp self-knowledge. Or else the mind is drawn to the external situations, conversation, and the content will be observed. But won't be observed, but it will be only noise. Say, for example, if you had some disagreement with your family members just half an hour ago, when you are focusing on this, you will not be able to grasp what is the content, what is said. Instead, those thoughts will come in between. So that is number 4, Shanti, calm mind. Number 5 is Arjavam, straightforwardness. Integrated thought, words, and actions, they all three should be in alignment. What you think you say and what you say you do. Say you want to go to somebody's house at 5 o'clock, you can tell them, I will be there between 4:45 to 5:15 or something like that, and you can be there. You have given enough time instead of saying I will be there at 5 o'clock and going there at 6 o'clock. So it's always important to walk the talk. You don't need to say everything that you think, but what you say must be thought of. To reach the highest truth, there must be truth in transactional reality. Number 6 is Acharya Upasana, service to Guru, humility towards the teacher. All the more emphasis on spiritual teacher, but not all are ideal teachers. That you should be able to discriminate that, discern that. It is a special quality in Indian education system. Teachers have special respect. It was always considered a noble profession. They produce doctors, engineers, and scientists in transactional reality. When a student seeker serves one's guru, all the personalities, great habits are transferred from the guru to the teacher, to the student. They are the role models. Parents are first teachers, role models. Children do what parents do, not what parents say. So they emulate adults. We have seen this earlier also in Karma Yoga. More like a mentorship. There's a difference between mentor and coach. A coach has got a definite time frame. 6 weeks, I will teach you soccer or game or something, any skill. Whereas a mentor is lifelong, supporting, encouraging, positive person. So that is Acharya Upasana. Number 7 is Saucham, cleanliness. Not only in personal but environmental cleanliness, mind, thoughts, memories, speech needs to be clean. My mother used to tell me, do not carry over anything. You cannot climb Mount Everest with a big backpack. So forget and forgive. Don't carry baggage. Things people behave differently, that is all normal, natural, but you don't carry. It is how you handle it. Norman Vincent Peale says, it's not what happens to you that affects you, it's how you respond to what happens to you that's what affects you. So that is Saucham, cleanliness. Next is Stiram, steadiness of our path and goal. Hold on, be firm, be consistent, determined, and stable. Every time we deviate, it takes longer to come back. So that is 8. Number 9 is Atma Vinigraha, that is self-discipline, self-control. Again, Atma refers to body, mind, and senses. Have a strong conviction and commitment to follow what your goal is. The beauty of this scripture is if you pick up one good quality, all the other qualities will follow. Same thing with bad ones also. We need to have a strong intellect not to get distracted. It is like the radio. We need to tune in with the same wavelength, right, to listen to the music or even the Wi-Fi nowadays. So not suppress the emotions, but sublimate it in a gentle way. That is, they need to wither automatically. When we gain this knowledge of self-knowledge, everything withers automatically. You don't have to do anything. Number 10 is Vairagya, absence of attachments and of the senses. 5 senses get pleasure when indulging with objects. Avoid the constant craving for any of the 5 sense objects. These, when done more and more, create addictions. I have also seen this, watching YouTube or talking on the phone or reading for a long time. All these 5 senses create addictions. Some we identify as bad, but still we get attached and we want more and more of it. until they give us sorrow. Like I'm diabetic. I have to be careful with sugar, but then there is an addiction. Sometimes you want to eat that and you experience it. The more you take it, the consequences we face. Same thing with anything. Thus, likes and dislikes are formed. My mind and intellect are constantly engaged in these sensual pleasures. Then the mind and intellect are not available for the higher power, higher purpose, which is spirituality, because we are more drawn to the external things. So by evaluating what we want and don't want, we choose. Human beings are the product of choices. So it is not hatred or indifference, but dispassion, not avoiding pleasures of the world. Scriptures do not prohibit uh, any of pleasures, but in moderation, no craving, no overindulgence. It's more like a focused light in the playground, in darkness. Teacher's words touches the core. Vairagya is the result of Viveka. Vairagya is the to darkness of it darkens everything else and lights the path of enlightenment. That is what Vairagya is. Number 11 is Anahankaraha, absence of doership. Ego and intense attachment to this body. These five senses draw us to the outer world. These are tools, instruments that connects the ego to the world outside. Look at this as an observer. Now, everything functions according to the law of nature. If you pause and look at it, think about it. When you look at it, when you start observing it, that is what in dhyana, in meditation, when you start observing everything is according to the law of nature, at that time the ego reduces. You can see this example, he gives example, fish is caught because of the bait, that is the taste. Moth is drawn to fire and dies in the light, that is because of the sight. A deer is drawn to sound, paralyzes, and the hunter gets it. An elephant is more into touch. When it is touching, the hunter again gets both the elephants. A bee is drawn to smell, fragrance, gets caught into the inside the flower, and the flower closes. It's called a pitcher plant. So, like a maple syrup is there, and an ant comes to taste it, and then the maple syrup swallows the ant. It cannot come out. So human beings have five senses. These have only one sense each, and they are struggling. Human beings have five senses. The absence of doership can happen as the tool of Ishvara. We have to see that is a symbolism of Krishna's flute. The flute has got 9 holes, this body has 9 holes. That is a symbolism. His music flows through that flute. So everything that is happening with this body, mind, intellect, everything is the expression of that divinity. That's why in the Bible also says, I am the custodian of this kingdom of God. We are all co-travelers, everyone, including our family members, that we say, there is no I, there is no mine. We are all co-travelers, that we need to recognize that. So number 12 is Anudarshana, recall and reflect. Recall and watch the entire life of every being goes through some sort of struggles, challenges, sufferings, and sorrows, starting from birth, old age, disease, decay, death. People all around us are strangers, strangers, are family members. Everyone experiences this, either they physical ailments or mental situations, economic problem, loneliness, fear, all these things, everyone. These are not to scare us, but unless we see the fact, we are caught in this illusion of safety, happiness. Possessions of land, houses, bank balance, all these are impermanent. This life is like a bubble in a water, right? So it has got its limitation. This life is very flimsy and painful. All these are very impermanent, temporary, ephemeral. Time can zero these in a minute. You can, I'm sure you have heard of Bhajagovindam, verse 21, Harati Nimesha Kalam Sarvam. Time can make it zero. Everything can change overnight. I have experienced that also in my life. Death needs to be contemplated, not to be afraid of. Limited lifespan can should be used for enlightenment. So no one is always young. Body will depreciate, disintegrate, and decompose. Need to think of that. You have to plan. That's why my mother lived with me till 84, and she had planned it so well. Everything she had written it in a post-it. This chain goes to this daughter. This uh, diamond earring goes to this daughter-in-law. Everything she had written it in a piece of paper, and she had also saved money for her cremation. She didn't want anybody to spend anything on her. That is planning. You have to plan. You cannot be afraid because it is inevitable. So planning is important. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is a famous quote. So Vyadi, sickness is inevitable. Anything can happen. Something has to start for the end. So whichever sense we use extensively, that gets affected first. So focus on the permanent one. Number 13 is asakti, non-attachment. Intense attachment to relatives for the feel good factor. Be independent of objects and people. Nothing is sustainable, nothing is permanent, not dislike, but enjoy when you have it. For what is yours today may not be yours tomorrow. Enjoy what you have when you have it, but be prepared to lose it. When we say or think, I cannot live without you, that is intense attachment. Insecure feeling, a state of fear. This could lead one to deep sorrow and sadness. Again, I remember I had a friend in California. She was in early 50s, two daughters in two universities studying, and she lost her parents both in the same year. And she was so depressed that depression medications made her lose her own memory. And within 2 years, or less than 2 years, she passed away, leaving her husband and two children. So when you have too intense attachment, that can pull us further down. We also see a lot of people, I have seen people holding on to furniture, cars, kitchen utensils that my grandmother used, my grandmother's mother used. They hold on to all these things for a long time. But how long? Right? So nothing is permanent, not easy, but be aware. Be kind, loving, caring, and enjoy every relationship. Make a positive memory to every being that crosses your path. Number 14 is anavishwangaha, absence of extreme identification, extreme dependency. The verse 9 starts with putra dara grihadishu. That is extreme identification with another beings, whether it is animals or plants or humans. A dog is miserable, you help. Do what needs to be done. But if you are miserable, just like the dog, then you cannot help that dog. It's like a doctor. Go to the doctor. If the doctor is also miserable as you are, then doctor cannot think and work on your problem, right? So don't get confused with compassion, considering ourselves as that being and experiencing the same. Just like watching a movie in a character, the character is afraid, then we also feel the fear because we associate with that. So parents and children towards parents should understand and extend support. Extreme identification is not love. Otherwise, there will be one more misery person. We may have objections to all this, but if we understand it in the right sense, we are fit for enlightenment. Not that we should not love children, partners, and parents, but identification is a sign of ignorance. Identification is thinking of another person as I. Identification with this body itself is a problem, and identification with something outside of this body is a deeper problem. That's why we often say, we hear people say, if I lose a job, I'm dead. Or if I lose my car, I'm dead. You know, it applies to everybody. So we want to be careful with that, not too much of identification. Then number 15 is Ishta Anishta Upapatti issue. Balanced mindset. Because of past actions, prarabdha karma, we all face favorable and undesirable life situation. To be balanced, neither elated nor dejected is emphasized here. Number 16 is Abhya Vicharani Bhakti, which is verse number 9. Sorry, verse 10. Undivided devotion. Generally, in prayers, we use God as an instrument to get worldly pleasures. I will do this, give me that. You know, it's a business transaction. I want to get better, I want better health, give me this. So, relief from pain and sufferings. Once we get what we ask for, we tend to forget God. That is conditional devotion. Love that one in you ever existed, and in all, that one is uncomparable, and one alone is which is in you is a single pointed, undivided devotion. Number 17 is Vivikta Desha Sevitam, isolation. Solitary place to quieten my mind. Why? Because my thoughts and emotions, ideas get mixed up with others. Some feel lonely even in a crowd. Some feel contented even when they are alone. When you are in a crowd, you are constantly bombarded with worldly information. You are prevented from, distracted from thinking, a state of quietude and calmness. From my personal experience, I lived alone for 15 years and never felt lonely because I always thought there is God living with me at all times. This is a personal experience. Again, I have experienced all this because when my husband passed away, I was so afraid to live alone. My children were both in the university. I had set the alarm so that I know if somebody enters. I was so afraid at that time to live alone because I never lived alone. I lived with my parents, and then after marriage, I lived with my husband. Never lived alone. Then at one point, I was forced to live 15 years alone. That's when I always thought God is always with me. And to be frank, whenever I used to drive to work, I used to think Ganesha is sitting next to me in the passenger seat. And I will say, you take me to work and bring me back because I don't know. I'm learning driving for the first time also. So every time I think that, and for the past 20 years, my seat, wherever I travel in the universe, my next seat is always empty. Even this time when I went to India and came back from India, my next seat was empty. I'm so surprised. It's still that kind of complete surrender is important. There is always that divinity with you. So when you are with always you want somebody else with you, then you are bombarded with their talking with them, you know. So isolated mindset is a very important value quality because when old, it would happen and you may not have enough mental strength at that time and fear would take over. Because all children are family members, everybody loves you, but everybody has their own responsibilities and commitment. They cannot entertain you. It is important to develop that, to be with your own higher self. That higher self is everywhere, identified self, loving higher self. Identify that. I am the self in all beings. You know, Aurobindo was in a Aurobindo ashram. For 40 years, he was living alone and he was very contented within himself. So that's an example. All these sages are our examples. Number 18 is Aratir Jana Samsati, not rejoicing in the company of people. It's the same thing, not interested being in a crowd. I do not need another person to entertain me. I'm happy within wherever I am. People with like-minded is okay. Otherwise, it is more like a virus. So, number 19 is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, self-knowledge. This must be acquired through scriptures and teachers, listening, contemplating, and staying grounded in it. Abide on it, meditate on it. There are plenty of knowledge. Rishis divided this knowledge into knowledge of the world and knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the world is aparavidya, knowledge of the self is paravidya. So knowledge about the world is never ending, vast, you turn on TV, hundreds of channels, YouTubes, so many things, knowledge about the world. Knowledge about the self, one who is experiencing. Self is one subject. The last but not the least, the 20th is Tattva Jnanartha Darshana, visualization. The knowledge of that, the result of that knowledge is moksha, liberation. Visualize, constantly think about this liberation, know, understand, and practice 19 sadhanas, and be clear about the goal of your life to get inspired and practice. Sadhana is a spiritual practice. So, people generally are not interested in spiritual practice, especially Vedanta, because the goal is not very clear, just like unlike worldly goals, right? To accomplish status in the world. So liberation is not clear. It can be referred as a freedom. Freedom is freedom from everything. Moksha, nirvana. If the goal is not clear, there won't be any interest or inclination to follow the path. What is in it for me is always a question. Then we will be where when we don't know that and we don't follow that, we don't perform the sadhanas, we are going to be in this samsara, the whirlpool of suffering, struggles, sorrows, and birth and death. That is why very few come to this path. Rarer still who achieves this, even to appreciate this knowledge takes its own time. This knowledge is not common, unlike worldly knowledge. When one appreciates it, one gets inspired to do it. Or else I have also heard that if you study Bhagavad Gita, your BP goes down. Yes, that's what some people think without knowing the actual content. Moon landing was a laudable idea. Idea is there, but you have to follow it. Gita is for the results to be gained through that knowledge. There are these 20 are referred as Jnanam, that is steps leading to self-knowledge. So the summary is body is the field, Kshetram, knower of the body is observer, Kshetranyan, knowledge is Jnanam, that which should be known is Jneyam. There are several things in this world that are to be known. Whatever and how much deeper, in depth we learn about anything in this world, we are still in this whirlpool of life and birth, birth and death. This self-knowledge alone can give contentment and dissolve the ego completely. So he says, verse 12, he says, I'm going to share that knowledge, and it's very subtle. Who is a jiva? Who is an individual? One who is breathing. That jiva was split in chapter 2 also, Atma and Anatma, inner presence and inert. So who is Nirguna Brahma, the cause of the universe? That which is in every being, in Brahma, in every being, in Brahma, then four-faced Brahma, the Ishvara, and the entire universe, imperishable, ever present, cannot be described as present or not present. Exists, and you cannot say whether that Brahman exists or not exists. For example, when the pot breaks, it becomes is not. Right? The pot is not there. The isness of the pot is no longer there. Any is can become is not one day. Temporary existence, such as is, that is in transactional reality. In our experience, we often use it as it is or it is not. Similarly, we should not refer Brahman as is. Brahman is. Then it also refers to that it could become is not. That ever present is referred as isness. Anything that exists with a small e is existence with a capital E. The isness. So Paramarthika Satyam is absolute truth. That which illumines the is not. That is referred as Jneyam, to be known. It is beyond the is and is not. The absolute truth means is at all times. The body changes, but the seer of this body changes is always constant, unchangeable. All experiences keep on changing. Change is the only thing that is constant. Absolute reality never changes. It has no beginning, no end. Anything that is manufactured, created, that has a beginning and an end, has an expiry date. When we know Brahman, verse 13, when you know Brahman, that is self-knowledge, we have come only halfway. Along with that, we need to know the universe is an appearance. Brahma Satyam Jagat Nitya, as referred. Scriptures refer to this as Adhyarupa Apavada, that is veiling and projecting, a methodology used to explain. Brahman alone is and everything is an appearance. That is why it is not referred as creation. Creation is referred in Taittiriya Upanishad for the beginners of Vedanta. It is a manifestation. It is an expression. It is not a creation. If you create something, then it is duality, Advaita. So, for example, he gives example rope and snake. One sees the snake, another sees the rope. So generally saying only rope is there will not help the other person to understand the rope, because the mind already has a preconceived notion, the snake, right? It is difficult to unlearn something, to relearn something. So the guru, the teacher first needs to acknowledge and then negate the preconceived notion. What you say is fine, I understand. What you saw as a snake is but a rope. That's how we have to explain it, even in the transactional reality with others, because each one has their own preconceived notion. So then he will replace what appeared as a snake with a rope. That guru has not seen the snake, but acknowledged the other person's perspective before negating it. Now, exactly that is how we have understood that Brahman is there and the world is also there. So duality exists. Similarly, the scriptures places the universe on Brahman, like the snake on the rope, superimposed. That is veiling Brahman. What is in what is in the seeker's mind alone? That is, the world is. That is why we all have different perspective of everything, because each mind is different, and that then he negates the world. Because you see a flower, you know you have eyes, right? But you cannot see your own eyes, even though you have eyes, right? So I am aware of this body-mind awareness. The pure awareness with a capital A, that is awareness, not aware of Brahman. Then it becomes duality. I'm aware of my anger. I am aware of this. That is all small a. The awareness is the Brahman, right? So that describes in verse 13 that Brahman has, in verse 13 it says that Brahman has hands and legs everywhere. All bodies and beings are superimposed on Brahman. That Brahman has heads, eyes, mouth are innumerable, meaning it is all pervasive in all beings. In like chapter 11, we have seen that, Vishwarupa Darshanam. Nothing moves without Brahman. All activities are because of Brahman. Like without Atman in this body, no action in this body at the microcosmic level. Nothing will happen. The fingers won't move, the eyelids won't open without that Atman present in this body. So is the Brahman. Without Brahman, nothing can happen. From the absolute perspective, that is called Ajatavadam, Brahman alone is. From the relative perspective, Jiva exists. Verse 14 says that one is illumining and glowing in all beings, all senses. Yet that Brahman has no sense, no senses, because there are no form and no world. Verse 13, he said that all hands, legs, heads are his, and he is in all hands, legs, and heads. In verse 14, he counters it by saying that this existence is nothing but name and form. We have so many members here right now. We can call one is Vanajavati, one is Vijaya, one is Jayabharati, one is Ravindranath, Venkat. This is all name and form. What is only one Atman in every being, right? That's what he's emphasizing. That which exists is only temporary with a small e. Existence could become non-existence, like bubble, like snake, seems to exist. It's a mithya, it's an illusion. If snake is not there, there won't be any fear. If it is really there, it will not go away by self-knowledge. It appeared due to our not knowing the rope. Snake is only a name and form. Snake is not an entity that you can identify, you can catch hold of. It is only a name and form. So are all everything. No real existence, in appearance only, not an object of perception. Existence, small e, is because of existence, capital E. The rope has given that easiness to the snake. Then that exists is removed. That easiness is removed from the snake. That existence goes back to rope. Similarly, the easiness of this universe, when removed, Brahman alone is. This is veiling and projecting. What is veiled. The Brahman is veiled, hidden, and projected as the universe. Just like the rope holds the entire snake, but the rope has no connection with that snake. Similarly, Brahman is the substratum of the universe, but is not attached, connected, or affected. That is why it is referred to as Nirguna Brahman, without any characteristic. That one appears as many. By negating the existence of the universe, Krishna describes Jneyam. Jneyam, that is supreme, the cosmic presence, that which is to be known. So far, we went through Kshetram, Kshetranyan, field and the knower of the field. Jnanam is values. Jneyam is that which needs to be known. Field, Kshetram, he mentioned this gross body, the entire universe. So then Kshetranyan is the one who sees sees there the both, that is only one is there. He sees the presence and absence. I know this pen is here, and when the pen is not there, I know the pen is not here. I know the presence and absence. Then 20 values, only these 20 values can lead one to self-realization. If not, self-realization will not happen. Therefore, he calls this as knowledge. Jneyam is that realizing which one attains moksha. Now, verse 16 and 17, one appears as many, which is God. We can call it God. God is generator, operator, dissolver. Light in Vedanta refers to that because of which one gets knowledge. Jnana Agni, we say that. I know this, I hear this, I see this is Jyoti. Because I can see all this. That is a Jyoti, light. Right? At home, we have bulb. During the daytime, we use sun. Sun reveals everything. At night, the moon reveals everything. Or the electric bulb reveals everything. The five senses illumines everything to an individual. That Brahman is the light behind all these lights. Meaning these senses, mind, intellect have no light, no power of their own. For example, without electricity, the bulb, the oven, the bread toaster, fan, nothing will work. Everything works because of that electricity, right? So the sun brightens everything but cannot reveal darkness. Similarly, Atman, Brahman brightens the senses, mind, and knowing and not knowing. Only Atman knows the presence and absence. I know this, I don't know that. We say that. Both are known by that. The known knowledge and the unknown information, the ignorant of something that is not there. Both are illumined by Atman, Brahman. I know that, I know this. I know and I do not know. Who knows both? That is Atman, that is Brahman. That Brahman is beyond light and dark. Knowledge is 20 values here is Brahman. The one that needs to be known is Brahman. Even though it is all pervasive, the locus of that is our mind. We can only realize that supreme presence from within. That is what it is called Antaryami. So far, he says, I have explained field values and that which is needs to be known. Those who knows this are self-realized. Once a seeker realizes that every moment is because of that, attains that without a doubt. So we have covered so far the field, the knower of the field, 20 values and Brahman that is needs to be known. With that, he completes chapter 13, first part 1, verse 18. So let's go see the slides because we cannot complete we couldn't complete the entire chapter today. So we'll do that next week, next Sunday. So 1 to 18, verse 1 to 18 here. Part 8, 1 to 18, okay. Mahavakya is precise statements. There are 4 different Vedas. Originally, it was only one Veda Vyasa divided into 4 because he could see that people cannot learn all together. So he divided into 4: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. Rig Veda is in Aitreya Upanishad says Prajnanam Brahma. Yajurveda Barhadaranya Upanishad says Aham Brahmasmi. Samaveda Chandogya Upanishad says Tattvamasi. Atharva Veda Mandukya Upanishad I am Atma Brahma. Chapter 1 to 6 we did Jivatma Surupam Tvam-pada Vicharam, that is Jiva, individual. 7 to 12, Ishvara Surupam, Tat-pada Vicharam. Tat means that. 13 to 18, Jiva Brahma Aikya. Both are one and the same. Atma and Brahma both are same. Or Jiva and Atman both are same. Right. Atma and Brahman one are same. Jiva Brahma Aikya. Okay. Now, chapter 1 to 6 is Karma Yoga. We talked about individuals' duties. That's a big difference between when I came to America, people did not know the meaning of the word duty because they were often told me when I was working, responsibility. Responsibility is you have an option. Either I can do it or I don't have to do it. But duty is must be done. That's the difference. So the cultural difference. Chapter 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga. Chapter 13 to 18, I should have corrected it. Jnana Yoga, self-enquiry. Again, 1 to 6 is individual effort, 7 to 12 is Ishvara's grace, and 13 to 18 is values, virtues that a jiva should possess. This is chapter 13. We have done only up to this. Arjuna's question on Kshetram and Kshetrajya. Lord Krishna's reply clarifying this: 20 values to be observed to attain the ultimate knowledge, that is 7 to 11. Then 12 to 18 is attributes of the ultimate knowledge to be known. So these 3 are same. Purusha, Kshetrajya, Jneyam are same. Prakriti and Kshetram are somewhat similar. Jnana is totally different. So Prakriti Purusha is nature and witness. Kshetram and Kshetrajya is field and knower of the field. Jnanam and Jneyam is knowledge and that which must be known. Manifested and unmanifested. Manifested ones are space, air, fire, water, earth. 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, manam, buddhi, chittam, ahankaram, 19. And these are sensory objects, desire, pleasure, sorrow, then bundle of body and senses, strong conviction, willpower. All these things are Kshetram field. The 20 values are amanitvam, absence of pride, absence of hypocrisy, not hurting others, other beings in thought, word, and deed, absence of disturbance in the mind, straightforwardness, service to Guru, humility, cleanliness predominantly in thought, word, and deed, along with environment, steadiness of our path and goal, self-discipline, self-control, absence of attachment of the senses. Anahankaraha is absence of doership, recall, reflect, non-attachment, absence of extreme dependency, equanimous, balanced in situations. Ananya Bhakti is single-pointed focus, Bhakti, without any need. I don't need something, I need only to know you. Solitude, isolation, Vivikta Desha Sevitam, not always interested in crowd, visualization, envisage, moksha, then Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, listening, contemplating, and practice to stay grounded in that self-knowledge. That is Nididhyasana. These are 5. Each one is drawn by their single sense and faces disaster. Humans have 5 senses. Be cautious. This is the bait. This is the firefly. This is the elephant touching, and then he gets both elephants. Then the deer stops, it panics whenever there is a sound. In fact, I worked as a transportation manager. I used to tell my drivers not to honk or to honk because they will just stay there. If you turn on the light, sometimes when they are driving at night, they will turn on their headlight. And when there is a light, the deer will pass the street. Then you will hit the deer. So if you honk, they will stop there. They will panic. They will stop there. Then you can drive through. So that I can remember that now. So they get paralyzed with sound. Then this is the bees. They go into the for taste. For the smell of this should be smell of the nectar, and then they get caught inside. This is I heard this from Vishaka Hari. Marakata Riti is individual effort is needed for grace. This is complete surrender. Marjala Riti is complete surrender. I give it to you. You do whatever with my life. I will just surrender to you. So this is a difference that I thought I'll share that. People don't come to Vedanta because they do not know the benefit unless they enter. Just like the canopy. You don't know until you go inside how beautiful it is. This song, I'll send it to you. You can see it's in Tamil. A jiva comes from nowhere, now here, goes nowhere. Know where you want to go. So this is verse 11 in Bhajagovindam. Sorry, no. In verse 9 in Bhajagovindam, Sansakat, I'm not sure if it is verse 9 or 11. I think it is. Okay. Satsangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmohatve nischalatatvam jivan muktihi. That is, from satsanga, company of good people, comes non-attachment. From detachment comes freedom from delusion, which leads to self-settlement, mental calmness. From mental calmness comes jivan mukti. That is the meaning. Every is will become boss, vyavaharika satyam, transactional reality. Anything, it will happen. Ever present is Paramarthika Satyam, absolute reality. It is always there. Not by listening to preachers, not by study of books, not by meritorious deeds, nor by any other means one can attain supreme state, which is attainable only through association with the sages and the clear quest for the of the self. Who am I? This is Purusha Suktam. Sastra Shisha, you all must have heard of Purusha Suktam, verse 1. Purusha has 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 feet, indicating the omnipresence of the universe. He surrounds the world from all sides. He pervades every part of creation and beyond the 10 directions, represented by 10 fingers. Nirguna Brahman, all pervasive in every appearance. He is in all. We use he, not it is not the gender. He is Nirguna. This is Mithya. All these things are only Brahman. This is Trigunatmika, that is Maya, even Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, that is also Trinity, one appears as three. See, this is my interpretation of Nirguna Brahma. 1 minus 1 is 1. Why? Because 1 is alone is there. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamichyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That is, 1 is there. There is one ocean. You can take 100 gallons of water. Ocean will still be there. You add another 10 trucks of water, ocean will still be there. That is the meaning of this. The universe is any number of changes happening, still one alone is. You can see one as in this in any form. 4 times 2 plus 1 minus 8, or this and this and this. But everything is one. That's why we all have different perspective of the world. One Nirguna Brahman without a second, Advitiyam. Because you can't say no, one. If you say one, one can become two halves, and two halves become each one quarter. One multiplies into many. So, Advitiyam, there is only one, but all the others are appearances. Everywhere are his hands, feet, eyes, heads, and faces. His ears too are in all places, for he pervades everything in the universe. Aurobindo Ashram, he was in Pondicherry for 40 years. During the daytime, sun helps us to see. During the night, moon helps or the light bulb helps. And everything is seen by the mind. That mind is illumined by Atman. If that Atman is not there in the body, mind cannot function. This is Kshetranya, and everything is Kshetra, field of experience. The entire galaxy, the physical body, 5 senses, all emotions, mind, everything is Kshetra. In essence, Gita 13.18 points to the divine spark within everyone, the ultimate reality that illuminates existence and offers the path to spiritual realization, making it a pivotal verse in understanding consciousness and the self. So with that, we complete today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.